Hello, I'm 𝗖𝗵𝗽𝘁𝗲𝗿𝘀, content creator at Arcanys, and welcome to the latest episode of Arcanys Career Talks. In this episode, we'll be chatting with Milcah, a long-tenured Arcanite who has been with the company for over 12 years. She started as a Java developer and is now an AWS expert. Her friends fondly call her Kakai, and she has a lot of practical insights to share as a software developer. So sit back, relax, and enjoy listening to this episode of Arcanys Career Talks. Good afternoon, guys. We're here for another episode of Arcanys Career Talks podcast, and today we'll be having one of the tenured Arcanites in our talk, and we'll be discussing her more than a decade career journey with Arcanys. So we hope to glean some useful insights from her journey as an IT expert in the industry, as well as why she stayed with the company for so long. So now, Kakai, can you please introduce yourself and your role in the company?
Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Milcah 𝗖𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗿𝘀. So I'm a software developer here in Arcanys. I've been in the company since 2011. So this is my 12th year in the company.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
Okay. So outside of Arcanys, who is Kakai? Can you tell us a bit about her?
Yeah, so obviously I like pink, of course. I also like durian and singing and dancing. At first glance, people might see me as a strict person because I am. But once you get to know me, I'm a fun gal. And around my friends, if I'm with my friends and close friends, I am extrovert. But of course, if I am with strangers or people whom I am not so close with, of course, then I am an introvert. So, yeah.
That kind of makes sense, actually, because I'm also not chatty with strangers, but when people get to know me and I become close to them, they say that I'm quite talkative.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so you've been with the company for a dozen years or more than a decade, so that's like amazing. So you have probably worked like in several projects already in your career. So can you tell us what has been the most challenging project you worked on since joining the company, and how did you overcome those challenges you faced?
Yeah, so I can think of two projects that was like challenging for me. The first one was an Android project, mostly because I am a back-end developer in the previous company that I worked with. And switching to front-end development is really something that I struggled with. Plus, the Android development at that time were not that popular yet. And also in Android, you have to consider a lot of different screens, different OS, and so there's a lot of surprises. And it's really my first time working on different devices compared to being just a back-end developer. But it made me realize that I am really not for front-end development. It made me realize my strengths and weaknesses. The second challenging project that I had was taking over a project that I didn't develop. So I was not involved in any of the design of it. I didn't code it, but they have to put me onto that project because there's no one who can handle it. And it was already the testing phase. So it's like walking into a dark room and they're asking you to fix something and you have no idea what it is about. So I was able to overcome those two challenges by trying to stay calm I did not let my emotions get the best out of me, so that I can think clearly. And I kept an open mind so I can study what the project is about and how it was built so that I can debug and analyze the issues, the bugs, and different surprises of it. And lastly, I persevered. So even though I feel like giving up already, that I want to quit because it's difficult, I realized that I just needed to rest and then fight the next day. So I overcome my fear of failure. And because of that, I was able to hone my skills and it toughened me. And I was proud of myself because I thought that I can't make it, but I did. So
Nice.
it was a good experience still.
Wow, yeah. Perseverance really is like a big plus for like people in the industry, right? But oh well, before we go further, by the way, I forgot to ask you. Can you like give us a sort of rundown on the technologies that you have had experience on?
Yeah, so the programming language that I was used to, um, ever since I was a college student, was Java. So I'm more familiar with the Java code. And currently most of the technologies that I used are AWS services. So because that's the latest one already. But yeah, AWS services. I also deal with TypeScript and Node.js, and then every now and then I still have to deal with Java project because I'm handling two projects currently. So one is Java and a mix of TypeScript and serverless, and then the other one was more on serverless and TypeScript and Node.js. So yeah, those are the current languages or and technologies that I use.
Wow, so you have been able to handle like several technologies already. And so for of all the technologies, which one do you like the most or is like you feel confident with the most?
I Now of course still Java because that's what I've had a lot of experience with. But the one that is like challenging for me is the Node.js TypeScript, because it's kind of new and there's a lot of like variation, shorthand version and longhand version of code. So it was fun to learn that Node.js TypeScript.
Nice. Okay. And what has been the most rewarding experience of your career as a software developer?
Yeah. So the most rewarding experience for me was the third time that I went to Sweden, because the first and the second one was more on meeting the client and then new project. But for the third one, I even asked them as to why they want me to go back there. And the client said that no, no, no. The clients wants to see you because they're happy with what you do and you help them a lot. And for me, it was a heartwarming invitation that they want to see me because they appreciate my hardship. And it's a confirmation that I'm really doing a great job for them. So, and it's all expense paid to
Yeah.
Europe. So that for me is really, really rewarding.
Yeah, it is. I can just imagine how appreciated you'd be feeling if, you know, you have clients or you have bosses that would like give you an all expense paid trip. So and
Yes.
and I'm quite jealous because I've never been to Europe. It's like it's one of my dream destinations anywhere in Europe. So
They also invited us to go with them on their Estonia trip. So last year we went to Sweden and Estonia.
wow, really? Oh, okay, I'm double jealous now. Okay, So if you could talk to Kakai, who just started at Arcanys 10 years ago, 12 years ago, yeah. So what advice would you give her?
Yeah, there's a lot in my mind that I want to tell my old self not to do. Yeah. So first was don't be afraid to ask question. Because sometimes, well, being a new developer 12 years ago, 14 years ago, you're really shy into asking question. So to my old self, you have to, don't be afraid. But if there's a stupid question or there are things that is unclear to you, you have to ask it. But try to ask it in a smart way. Wherein, for example, you don't just ask what is in the box. You have to ask like, is there a cat inside the box? Is there a dog? Is there a cookie? So it should be that your question is more like confirmation, asking yes or no to the client, because sometimes the client, they don't know what they want, so you have to give them options.
You
uh,
help them out. Okay.
yes, yes. And then second one was to learn from your experience, or learn from your mistakes, and always be open to learning new stuff, especially in our time now. The thing that you know now may be obsolete in the future. So you really have to be open to learning from other people, learn from their experience, so you don't need to make the same mistake as them. um, and as what they say, you don't learn if you think you're always right. So you have to think that there must be something that you're missing. So yeah, that. Yeah.
I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the third one was take pride of your own work. Because if you did, then you will make sure that it's high quality. You will be responsible. If you put yourself in the shoes of the client, is this the kind of quality that you want to have? So that must be something that you have to keep in mind. That if I were to give you this, do you want to accept it? Yeah. It should be that your code is something that your future self will thank you. I'm coining that from Clyde, one of our, employees here. He taught me that you have to have a code that wherein your future self will thank you. And you have to also, keep in mind that in the future, you are not the only one who's going to use that code or maintain the service that you are making. So it's other people will use it, other people will maintain it. So you have to make sure that they can also be able to use that and maintain it. So yeah, you have to have a clean code, a simple one, and understandable. Must be something that others can read it as well. So the fourth one, I have 7 here. So the fourth one is you have to keep in mind that bug is equal to cost. It may not be a monetary cost, but time, because time is very expensive. It's something that you cannot go back. So a bug is equal to a costly time for you, your teammates, your clients, and the users or stakeholders of your project. So you have to keep that in mind. You don't just like slack off and it's okay. But yes, as what I've said earlier, yes, you will commit mistakes, but you have to learn from it. I'm going to the next point, wherein if you commit a bug or a mistake, you have to own it. You have to admit it that, yeah, I committed a bug. And you have to accept it and then fix it. And is to learn from it, because that's the only way to go. Well, you cannot blame it. You cannot blame it to other people. You can only blame yourself for it. And because you also have to accept that you are not perfect. Every now and then you will commit mistakes, and every now and then you will commit a bug or bugs, but you just have to own it. It's better that you accept it rather than deny it. Second to the last point is practicing the principle of divide and conquer. It can be applied into designing or to debugging a bug. For example, it's a very huge task. So you have to divide it in order for you to be able to have a working task or working service. So if it's too big, then you have to divide it and then just go to it one at a time. It's the same also in debugging. You have to, if you're looking into a big service and there's a bug, you cannot just you will not be able to find it right away where the cause is. So you have to divide the system into modules, and in the module you divide it again up until you find where the root cause is. And last, to my old self, you have to, it's okay to say no. In Arcanys, it's one of our culture that I think in Yvette's orientation, it's okay to say no to the client. You don't need to always say yes, and then you won't be able to deliver. So it's okay to say no. For me, what I do is I don't explicitly say no. What I do is, if I have a lot of stuff and I have a lot of tasks for the day, and the client will ask me if I can do this or can you check on this one, I will tell them to, can you wait for a moment? I'm currently working on another task. Is it okay if I look into this tomorrow or later in the day? So it's okay to decline them temporarily. And if what they want doesn't make sense, then you have to explain it to them. You don't need to say yes to their ridiculous request. So you have to let them see as well your point of view. So yeah, that's the last one.
Yeah, I agree to all of those, especially the last one, because we Filipinos have a tendency to say yes and yes, just say yes as if it's the boss or if it's a client, without thinking ahead of what the consequences of that yes may be. So yeah, I agree. So at
Yeah.
least you won't be you won't find yourself in a tight spot
Yes,
just because you
exactly.
said yes. Okay. So those are really, really great insights, and I'm sure that's probably why you're one of the most trusted employees of or teammates of your project right now. So, you've already said your piece for your younger self. How about, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting their careers in software development?
Yeah, I would still advise them the same thing. But I think one that sticks out is it's okay to make mistakes since you're still a new developer, but you have to learn from your mistake. You don't just squander it just because it doesn't affect you directly. You have to realize that your mistake can have a ripple effect to not to you, but for the other people as well. So it's okay to make mistakes, especially if it's in test environments or even if it's in production, but just admit it, be brave enough to to
Accountable.
yeah, to be accountable and to own it if you be able to make mistakes.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest no-nos, not being accountable, because it's not just bad for you and the team, it might also affect the team morale, right?
Yes, exactly.
Passing the guilt or the blame to others.
They will not trust you actually. If you make mistakes and then you deny it, next time it will cause that trust issues in the team.
It would, yeah, definitely. So thank you so very much for those great insights. So how about, how do you stay up to date with emerging technologies and industry trends? And what resources do you recommend for others who want to do the same?
Yeah. Well, for me, I subscribe to newsletters of different services. For example, AWS. There's also Stack Overflow, Bitbucket, Atlassian. There's a lot of newsletters that you can subscribe on. There's also, reading the articles that your colleagues or your people in Slack that they have shared, because every now and then people read something and then they share it. So you don't necessarily need to memorize everything, but at least you're at the back of your mind, or the top level of it. But what's more effective for me is talking to your colleagues and friends, because for example, you're talking about a certain technology over dinner or over your outing with the team. You'll have a better memory on those technologies or on those new features, because you can associate it with a particular memory that you had. So, for example, I learned this one because when I was playing cards with my friends, we were discussing this. So that's why the team building in Arcanys, the one that we have like once in 2 months, that's very helpful.
Yes.
That's very helpful. That's, for me, that's effective way of learning new stuff and taking, staying on top of things.
Nice. So your team actually discusses, IT trends or like tech trends during team
Yeah.
buildings.
When our client came here to visit us, and over dinner we were discussing stuff. And then not only with my teammates, with other friends as well. So yeah, we discuss stuff, and then you have a better memory of it, because you'll not forget, because sometimes you converse things, you like heated argument about this one and this one, they like it more and then this one. So you have you'll have, but you'll remember it well.
Yeah, you sort of associate it with an incident.
Exactly.
It's a cute one. It's a cute triggering of memories. um you already mentioned that, the team building, one of Arcanus perks actually helps you, stay on top of industry trends and emerging technologies. But what else, in what way did Arcanus, or does Arcanus help you stay on top of industry trends and emerging technologies?
I think, yeah, aside from the team building that we have, talking to colleagues, your friends about that, the trainings that they offer, that the Arcanist offer to you, and like taking your certification if you want to, and other technologies, you can try it during your training, and the Arcanist will also pay you. So you already learned new stuff, and then you also get paid
Yes.
while training. So that's really a very nice perk in the company.
Okay,
Yes.
wow. Yes. That actually, a lot of you guys, a lot of you developers and testers actually avail of those perks, right? I see those like weekly notices in Slack, who's up for weekend training.
Yeah.
Nice. So are there any particular programming languages or tools that you've found to be most useful or enjoyable to work with?
For me, I'm always amazed by AWS services, because they keep on improving. They keep on adding new features. Well, you can use it in a lot of way. So, and I constantly, every day, I always use the AWS services, because we also use it in our project. And it always amazes me how they make, things or work faster and efficient.
Yeah, I agree. It's like one of the most amazing things I've witnessed in the last decade. the rise of the Amazon services. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now software development often involves problem solving, right? So, can you share an example of a complex problem you encountered and the steps you took to arrive at the solution?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the second challenge that I experienced was overtaking a project that I didn't develop, or and I was not involved in coding of it or any of the design. So this the way the steps that I took in order to solve the issues that was reported by the client, and I have no idea or how it was built. So I just kept an open mind to learn what the code is about. I also gave the client like a disclaimer in a way that I was not able, I was honest to them that I was not involved into designing this project. So please give me some time to take a look at the issues, and I will get back to you once I have the fix for it. So yeah, so I communicated with the client. I kept an open mind to learn the project, and it also involves a new, at that time, the use of CDK. I forgot the meaning of it, but in deploying serverless, there's like a framework that they use that is used now, which is CDK, and it's super new to me. I don't know anything about it. So what I did was I googled it. I learned from, yeah, googling it, and then reading what it is about, how the previous developer used it, and there are issues that was reported by the client regarding that project. And then I just applied what I've learned from the previous developer's code and the one that I read from Google. And then I was just patiently like, okay, so this is how she did it. So okay, and the client reported it as being the issue is happening when they click on this particular button. Okay, now let's trace where that button is triggering. So in order for me to solve the problem, you have to patiently trace where it came from, or how it was able to have an effect of like that. So you have to be patient. I was just being patient in solving, even if, in my mind I'm already cursing in a way, but I just stayed focused onto like serving the client, that they don't deserve to have a service that is crappy, or something that, yes, I may not know how it was built, but I will do my best to fix the problem for you. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
patience and perseverance actually go a long way in solving problems. That's a really, really good habit. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And it's kind of funny because I am fond of Googling stuff too. Like if I encounter something that's unfamiliar to me, Google Google it. Right? Yeah. And I already existed before Google, so I know how hard it was not to have Google yet before. So yeah. So how about this? Have you had any experience in mentoring or guiding junior developers? If so, what approach do you take to help them grow in their roles?
Yeah, so currently I'm handling two projects. And in those two projects, I have one newbie in the one, and then there's two in the other project. So actually I'm handling three new developers, or
Wow.
yeah, junior developers. The two of them were fresh
Wow.
graduates. Yeah. So how did I mentor them or guide them? Of course, I introduced to them the technologies and what the project is about. And then if they have questions, of course I answer them. But I I still, you still have to practice patience, because they will keep on asking questions to you, and you just need to be patient in answering them. So patience is always involved when mentoring newbies or junior developers. But and the most important thing for me is I let them commit mistakes. And because the only, like, it's the best teacher that they can have. When you have mistakes, you can learn from it and you will remember it, because especially if it's had a bigger effect. But I don't let them, of course, have a production bugs or that. I don't let them do that yet, of course. But I let them commit mistakes, so that they would learn. And I don't I'm not into spoon feeding them. If they ask a question, I don't give them the answer directly. I direct them to where they can find the answer, so that they would be the one to find it themselves. Because I'm really not fond into, giving right away the question, and then you will not learn from it, and then they will be get used to, like, keep on asking question, and they are not practicing their way of discovering things. So yeah.
True, because I I've had my fair share of tutoring, like, young people, and I know that it sticks more in the head if they commit mistakes, if they learn from their mistakes, because they tend to want to avoid it in the future, right? So that's why it sticks. Nice. Okay. So you've been with the company for 12 years, which is like really, really commendable, like, of any employee these days, because you know most professionals, they tend to jump from one employer
Yeah.
to another, because we have so many companies now. But and especially we're going global, and remote is like a trend. So, like, really, really commendable that you've lasted this long. And so how about, what do you see or hope for in the future here at Arcanys for yourself?
Yeah, so I hope that I will still be here as the company continues to grow. Because before, we don't have an Arcanys gym, but now we have Arcanys gym, and the health benefits of Arcanys keeps on adding and adding. So I really hope that I will still be here in the company as, more health benefits arrives, or as we go global. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. We hope to have more coverage in the future, like, probably more in Europe, and then we could get to visit them there, hopefully. Cross fingers. You've been featured na before. I see, like, you're one of the earliest featured employee. I have read your, like, blog article, and it's like one of the cutest ones that I've read. So this is like a sequel of that. So what can you say about Arcanys?
Yeah, first, I'm thankful to Arcanys, especially Alan and Fred. They've been, uh, well, of course, I didn't have any chance to work in the other company, but this is the company where I experienced that they focus on, you know, work-life balance. Because in my previous company, we were like doing more OT than ever there. And in this company, Alan and Fred really emphasize the importance of health. especially when we had a pandemic wherein we were encouraged to do exercise 5 times a week, and we all also get paid for it. So aside from having a health benefit, the company is also paying you. So that for me is like really an amazing benefit. And now we have the Arcanys gym, and we have coaches from France. So they Alan and Fred really want to give us, like the high quality benefit, the health benefit. So that for me is really, really important. And you have flexibility in your work. So if you need more time to do stuff, you have an option to, do a compensation, advance or late compensation of your additional leaves if you want. So there's a flexibility in your time of work. So that for me is also very important. And they don't want you to do OT. I think that one is really a very big, for me, a very big benefit, because you need to have like approval before you can do overtime. In the other company, when they just tell you, okay, go over, do this, and you don't have enough time for a day to work on this, so they will say that you have to do OT. Here, no OT. As much as possible, there's no OT.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Milcah. For sometimes I call you Kakai because I'm more familiar with that nickname. But thank you so very much for joining me today. I've learned so much from your journey here in Arcanys, and it's a delightful surprise. Like, I've learned a lot of delightful surprises from you during your stay here. And hope you have a great day for the rest of your day. And thank you again. Hope you can join me again in the next episodes if you want. You're very welcome to join me again.
I will.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
And that's episode 4 of Arcanys Career Talks with software developer Milcah. Thank you for listening and hope you have a lovely day ahead. If you want access to more content like this one, feel free to like our channel and subscribe so you get notified when we publish new episodes.